Hey, it's Rav. You're watching The Everyday Investor, the hottest real estate investment show in the world. That's right. I said it. I don't care who knows it. We've got a phenomenal show. We're going to talk about how you can make money, your hard-earned money, investing in condominiums. Remember, whenever you're investing in anything, whether it's real estate or any type of business, you always want to ask the person introducing that investment vehicle, you want to ask them 4 questions. Number 1, what is the return on my investment? Number 2, when do I get that return? If they say it's 20% return, very good. But if it's over 5 years, then really you're only making a 4% annualized return. Number 3, what is the minimum cash amount needed to be able to invest? And number 4, what is the risk, the worst case scenario? When we're talking about condos, my good friend, I'd rather have no one else here on the show to talk about condos other than my brother from a different mother. Brian Prasad is here. Brother?
We're brothers, not just because we're both brown and Indian.
Yes.
We're actually really close.
Yes, we're very good, close friends. And you're also savvy with the investment world,
yes.
The real estate world, all that kind of good stuff. But before we talk about money, let's talk about more important things,
yes.
Such as your wife, Sabrina. How is she?
She's really good. I mean, everyone is kind of a little nervous that Trump's in power, but I'm sure we're going to be all right.
It's all good, man. Trump, Clinton, I mean, you know, change... Listen, there's been some horrific, and I'm not even saying Trump is, I make no comment on that, but we've seen some horrific world leaders, and yet we can still go for a walk with our wife and our children. What's more important than just the simple things in life, right? The very simple things. I mean, all the things that he may or may not do, who knows? But it's the simple things, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to affect you and Sabrina going for a walk, after dinner on a nice sunshiny day.
I know we're all stuck in this news cycle when we should just be watching Everyday Investor. Focus on making money, being happy, listening to great advice from people like yourself and everyone.
But you know what is interesting, since we're on the topic? The minority does speak the loudest. You know what I mean? Like it would almost be insulting if anyone said they voted for Trump. But obviously, majority of people voted for Trump, but nobody would say it because it's the minority, and this is usually with anything in life, the very few people speak the loudest.
Well, you know what's funny? Actually, the majority of people voted for Hillary Clinton. He won more electoral college votes. So that's really weird, the way that it works. But yeah, they're very loud, and they were not really admitting to it in the polls. So that's why it kind of snuck up on everyone. Like, who could admit they're going to vote for Trump? But they did. They did in droves. And
so anyways, more important things, Sabrina's good.
Sabrina's good.
As many people know, I'm also a minister of religion, or I was, and that was the last marriage I performed.
Oh, really?
Was,
I'm
yours,
honored.
And I said, hey, nothing can top this, so I'm gonna quit while I'm hot here. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
I remember I didn't pay you for that, but thank you for doing it.
Friendship. You paid me with your friendship every time. I'm graced with your presence. Thanks so much for being here. So we're going to talk about how to make money in condominiums.
Yes.
I know you're an expert in that field. You have many investments yourself. You've brought a few people that you know as well. Enzo and Lindy are on the show. And
yes.
They're gonna show us how they're making money. I think Enzo purchased a property this year, has already tenanted it out, and is already making money.
Yeah.
Lindy did a pre-construction, which you'll explain to us what that means when she comes on the segment. And she's already made money, and we can even talk about the projected returns that are happening here. With the new mortgage rules,
yes,
and with the new government in our Big Brother's land there, is that going to affect what's happening here in the GTA or even anywhere in Canada when it comes to investing, just in real estate in general? So let's start with Trump first, and then secondly, with the changes in the mortgage rules.
Well, really, I mean, we don't really have a demand problem. Yes, there's a lot of demand, but there's a huge supply problem. There's not enough real estate to be built.
Okay.
So unless something just trumps out demand, causes people to lose their confidence.
Pardon the pun, yes.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
We're really not going to see the mortgage rules as it is right now, or Trump really affecting things, unless they mess up people's confidence.
And that's what you're on the same page as many experts that I've talked to. They said, Rav, it doesn't matter because there's too much demand, very little supply. Mama always taught me, when you have more demand than supply, we have a business. And so, rates go up a little bit. We have to make a little more money to buy the same property, or we have to, our purchasing power is like 20% less or so. But it really doesn't matter because people want to live here.
It's unimaginable. We've never had a supply crunch like this, really, ever. New condo sales, this is one of the first times that it's blown apart. The new condo launches that are coming up, we've had more sales than the new condos coming up. So that means supply is really low. There's so much people willing to buy, but there's not enough supply being added both on the regular non-new construction, just a regular house on the street resale, and on the new construction side. There's not enough supply to handle the demand.
And you're right there in the middle of it, so you see it. You see it all. And I think it's a great point that you make, and I think I really want the viewers at home to understand this as well. And then we'll go to break and we'll get into more of the ingredients. But every time you see a crane in the sky, which we see many, they're building for product that's already been purchased.
Yes.
Right? It's not like, hey, let's, like other parts of the world, but here and and I believe South Florida, the only kind of places where
there's more spec building.
We sell, first, and then we build. Anyways, let's talk about more when we come back from our break. I'm talking to Brian Prasad. We're talking about how to make money investing in condominiums. You don't want to go anywhere. It's going to be a great show. Thanks for watching, everyone. Whenever you're considering to invest in real estate, always ask those 4 questions to start. Number 1, what is the return on investment? Number 2, when do I get that return, along with the money that I put in? Number 3, what is the minimum cash amount needed? Number 4, what is the risk, the worst case scenario? Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to the Everyday Investor. Today we're talking about how to make money investing in condominiums. Brian Prasad is my expert guest host here. Before we continue to talk to him and learn how to make money investing in condos, we're going to go to our mortgage specialist extraordinaire, Carmen Caponero. Over to you, Carmen.
Thanks, Rav. Today I want to talk about shopping. And I mean not shopping for some clothes, which I love to do. I'm talking about shopping for mortgages. In today's market, it is really tough when you continue to seek for financing at multiple banks and multiple brokers. First of all, every time you go to a different institution, they're going to pull a credit bureau. Every time they pull a credit bureau, your credit score is going to go down. So what's happening here is it's going to be more and more difficult for you to get that approval because your credit score keeps going down and it looks like you're shopping, which in our industry, when lenders see that, it's a negative and it could propose a decline. So find somebody that you're comfortable with, let them handle the job, let the professionals do it, and don't shop because it's not going to do you any favors. So back to you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Carmen. Brian, she said some interesting things there. Have you ever experienced that where, somebody, they say, Brian, I'm pre-approved and I want to go buy a property, $500,000, and then they come back and they say to you, you know what, I'm not approved anymore. And the reason was because they're trying to get the best rate, they're shopping it, and now they don't even qualify anymore. Has that ever happened?
Well, what we're actually seeing is this. They go, Carmen gives them a great rate, and they shop it around. They may go to their bank and get the bank to try to match the rate. And the bank might do that, but here's what happens. Carmen put in all this work, she did all their due diligence, they may not have done it, and then on the time of closing, things happen and the deal ends up falling apart because they shopped it around and the person wasn't as competent and everything else.
I see. So it might not be because they don't qualify anymore, but there's balls dropped because nobody knows who's getting the business. And so why should I put mortgage specialists like realtors, like many people out there, they put a lot of perspiration in a lot of times, and they may not get the deal at the end of the day.
And the crazy thing is Carmen does so much volume that she's able to pull some strings because she does so much vetting out her clients to make things happen. When someone else may not have that relationship.
Yes.
So Carmen was able to get something to happen. They don't know all the work that she did, and then on closing they went to someone else just to shop around, and they get screwed.
No shopping around. A cow gets fed and a pig gets murdered. It's okay to be a cow in life a little bit, but don't be a pig. You know what I mean? You just get killed.
We're both vegetarians, though.
We are. Yes. So, Brian, we're talking about condominiums.
Yes.
We're going to learn how to make money in condominiums.
Yes.
Before Enzo and Lindy come up and we kind of put the numbers on the screen there, let's talk about just the fundamentals, the philosophy around condo living and lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts just in general with housing in Toronto? You know, our good friend Peter Politis, you know, he always talks about the Manhattanization of Toronto, that we're on an island. And you agree? What are your thoughts there about living in Toronto? The only way to do it is condos.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing is that, yeah, you see a lot of condo cranes everywhere, but you don't see a lot of subdivisions being built. I mean, Brampton, Markham, and everything else, there's no new Bramptons, there's no new Markhams. And because of that, we're actually producing way fewer homes. So what's actually happening is intensification, and it's driving prices up. I'm sure Peter has that problem. When he's looking to buy land, it's so much higher in price. When someone's looking to buy a house with land, it's so much higher price than it was last year. And now it's trickling down to the condo market because supply is so tight. So remember Urban Corp, you know, that company that went bankrupt and everything else? They had to sell off all their land. They actually made so much money from selling their land to, it was just competing with Chinese buyers, just the same, regular people looking to buy. They actually made enough money to pay off all their debts and even make a profit from it. The reason why? Land is so scarce.
Yeah.
Peter Politis, you guys just did a deal, condo project, where you bought the land 20 years ago for $2 million. They rezoned it. The guy made over $120 million in profit. The reason why? Land's so scarce, so prices are being driven up.
Yeah.
There's a huge problem right now for supply, and that's causing prices to go up like crazy.
So what are we right now, generally speaking? I know that you can't really, we have basic condos, we have luxurious condos, but generally speaking, what are we looking at per square foot purchase price?
So, I mean, I hate doing the per square foot price for an area, because in Mississauga downtown is going to be a lot different than the 416.
No, I mean in the core, in the 416.
Yeah, pre-construction's coming out on the regular in the downtown core, like the downtown, about $700 a square foot.
Well, 700 square foot. So what that means is, if we want to buy a property that's 1,000 square feet, times it by 700, so a $700,000 property for 1,000 square foot unit.
Yeah.
Now, most people, do you see, are buying 1,000 square feet unit, or are they more between 500-600 square feet?
Well, actually, what's happening is that the hot zone right now is in between that 700 to 900 range.
Is that right?
2 bedrooms. Believe it or not, more 2 bedrooms are being sold as investments in the tiny 1+ dens. Everyone's like, think about, how am I going to live in this box? Those are actually not the hot ones for rentals. They're not the hot ones for purchasing.
700 to 900.
Yeah. In fact, Toronto Real Estate Board right now, do you know what the highest group in sales is? Those condos that are over 600,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Why? It's because people can't afford to buy a house. I mean, they're looking
So let me do the math on it for a second. So if I'm an investor, Rav's an investor, I want to buy a great investment property downtown Toronto. One day I'm going to move into it, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps.
My wife and I, or give it to one of my children, or whatever the case is. So I want to buy a 700 square foot property. You're saying it's roughly around $700 a square foot. So I need a good $500,000, $500,000 to get into that market.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't sounds like a lot, and it doesn't sound like a lot when I'm talking about Manhattan. And so if we know that we're going into the way of Manhattan, then really it's not necessarily a lot of money to get a great product. Here's the question. With 20% down, so I bought a property for $500,000, I put 20% down, so I have a mortgage of $400,000. Can I still carry today? Can I still tenant it out? And I don't want cash flow, but I also don't want to dig into my pocket every month. What are your thoughts?
I mean, this is the great thing about it. Rents have been going up almost 10% per year, every year. You know what the great thing about buying something?
Slow down. 10%
yeah, almost 10%.
Rents, really?
Yeah, I mean, when the Urban Nation rental market report came out in 2011, $3 a square foot was only Yorkville, like the hoity-toity neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Now you can't get anything in Toronto 5 years later for that $3 a square foot. In fact, Mississauga is going for that. 5 years later, Mississauga rents are the same as Yorkville rents, what they were 5 years ago.
So what is it today a square foot? That same $700 a square foot bill can command a how much square foot for rent?
So we're looking at anywhere around that $4 to $4.50 per square foot.
Really?
So what that means is that chances are you buy in the right location for the right price, it will at least cover its costs.
So I can make, because if I do the math here,
Yeah.
I'm not as smart as you, but if I do the math here, you're talking roughly around the $3,000 mark for that 700 plus square foot unit.
2 bedrooms are easily going for around that $2,500 to $3,000 mark, depending on the layout, depending on the building location.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
$2,500 to $3,000.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And how much are we selling as parking spot right now in the 416?
You know what? Parking, I mean, is going up in value here and there, but it's not really looked as something that is an investment. It's just something that you'd like to have. I'll give you an example.
But as an investor,
Yeah.
do I want with parking, or it doesn't matter if it's in the right spot where there's
If it's
transit
the right
right
spot,
there?
Exactly. I mean, some buildings you need to have parking in order to sell. Like, for example, in Mississauga, some areas on the outside of the core, like when I say the outside of the core, closer to Parliament, you definitely need parking in those areas. It's definitely important.
Yeah. Okay. Great. You're always a wealth of knowledge. I think for the viewers, you brought some graphs, and you could talk a little bit about the graphs that you
Yes.
brought, and we can maybe pull them up on the screen here.
Okay, let's take a look. So I wanted to show you this. Look at the sales difference that we've had just recently in terms of the last quarter of 2016. It blew apart every year by far. This quarter we had almost 7,000 sales. We can see the 10-year average is about 4,000. So what does that mean? Is that new condo sales are outpacing the supply that we're actually delivering.
Yeah, we can't keep up.
Condo launch. We can't keep up with the demand.
Okay.
So we have another one. And we're talking about the mortgage rules, right?
Yeah.
So with the mortgage rules, what happened is this. Right now, you could get a mortgage rate, 5-year fixed. You could go to Carmen and get one for 2.19. But what the bank is qualifying you for pre-construction is 4.64%.
Okay, so that's what you qualify. So
Yes.
I may be paying the rate of the yellow.
Yes.
But I need to qualify at that aqua.
Yes.
And what's this blue here?
So that means, on average, it means that you could afford 23% less of a price on a house.
Okay, so before,
So there's that
if I could
buffer.
buy a property for $520 or so,
Yes.
now I can only qualify for $400,000.
Yes, so
worth.
there's that buffer zone essentially that the bank wants you to have.
Yeah.
They want you to say, if rates go up, we could qualify for you. You know what the crazy thing about this, Rav?
Yeah.
This is not going to really affect the pre-construction condo market. Do you know why?
Why?
It's because the banks were
Because I need a mortgage for a couple of years.
The builders were actually requiring people to qualify for that all the time. So it's not really going to dampen the market.
Got it.
Because they required people to do that
They
before.
were already qualifying
They're already
for that.
qualifying
Got it,
for it.
okay.
So all the purchasers that were buying, I mean, most of the purchasers were buying were being qualified at 4.64.
So, for example, Lindy's coming on.
Yes.
She bought a pre-construction.
Yes.
She already had to qualify at the posted rate at the
posted
4.6.
rates,
whatever.
exactly, whatever it was back when she bought it.
Okay. And what was the next graph that you?
So the next graph is just basically showing in Toronto the average to get the average property, you have to be making a household income of the bottom left, $145,000 to get the average price of a home.
Household.
Now, yes, the household income. So
Okay.
you making 80, the wife making a little bit more.
Well, it's a good thing we're
yes.
Indian because
Yes.
my uncle, my aunt, my grandmother, my grandfather, whoever lives in the house.
Yeah, but
Just kidding,
then it
I'm
gets
just
a little
kidding. I'm
dicey
just
there.
kidding.
Yeah, they really just want 2 people. It gets weird when you start adding more people.
course, of
Yeah,
course.
definitely. So what I'm trying to say is this. The market's pretty healthy. And the reason why I wanted to show that is because $750,000, not many people have that level of income.
Yeah.
So what are they forced to buy? A condo, right?
That's right, yeah.
And it may not be in the core, what we were saying was $700 a square foot. It may be in Mississauga, maybe in Markham, maybe in Vaughan. And guess where the areas that are really hot sellers right now?
Yeah.
Markham, Vaughan, really not just the 416.
Yeah.
It's downtown Markham, downtown Vaughan, downtown Mississauga.
Sure, you have to go to the 905. You're going to have to go there, right, to be able to purchase.
And where Enzo bought in the Etobicoke, where 5 years ago no one would really want to buy there. Now it's the hot neighborhood.
Yeah.
And why? Pricing.
So what I get from you is you don't see an end in sight. I mean, definitely not, there's no bubble.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there might be a pinch of a cooling down for a few months, a year?
Oh, well, it has to. It can't keep on this pace.
Yeah.
There's a 7,000 unit spread between the demand versus what's being delivered. So that means there are 7,000 more buyers looking
There's
than the
7,000
demand.
more homeless people.
Yes, exactly. So we can't continue at that rate, this level of price increase, this level of stuff. We can't continue. That's why I do see it slowing down. It has to. Otherwise, it's time to ring the alarm.
Yeah.
However, What we can control is the Trump factor, is the mortgage factor, is the foreign investment factor, which don't really impact the people's ability to buy an income. And what it affects is their confidence. If we start introducing mortgage rules here, foreign buyer income or foreign buyer rules here, what happens, it gets in your head and lowers your confidence to buy.
You are not just a handsome face. I'm here with Brian Prasad, a wealth of knowledge. You don't want to go anywhere. Get your calculator, your pen, your paper. We're going to go through some numbers when Lindy comes on the show to teach us how she's making money investing in condominiums. Thanks for watching. Did you know that some condo developers are asking for full commitment letters from big banks, even if the project is slated to be completed 3+ years away? Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to the Everyday Investor. We're talking to my good friend Brian Prasad about how to make money investing in condos. He's brought his good friend Lindy on the show. Lindy Duong's here to share with us how she's making money purchasing a condominium. I guess we call that pre-construction. Look forward to talking to them about that. Lindy, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being on the show. So Brian, you know, when we look at, manufacturing, when we look at the manufacturing business, if you will, whether we're making a car or we're making, like our good friend there, what's his name, Chip Wilson, who became a billionaire in 10 years, making track pants and calling them Lulu something or whatever. It's all manufacturing and there's margin.
Yes.
So we're building housing, we're building
Yes.
condominiums.
Yes.
So, I do a lot of the stuff on the land side where we buy the land and, we get the money from the bank to be able to build. Then the second part of that is somebody like Lindy comes into play and she buys the actual unit.
Yes.
And then the third part is Lindy may actually move into the unit, or she may sell it, or she may rent it out. Is that kind of how we look at, the condominium world? There's the actual manufacturing, then there's the actual purchaser, which could be an investor,
Yes.
and then there's the end user.
So one integral part to this whole equation that's a little bit different from the Chip Wilson stuff, where is that he builds it first, then sells it.
Yes.
In order for the developer to be able to sell, he needs pre-sales.
Yes.
So how do you pre-sell 100, 200 units to be able to build and make that happen? Because you need a purchaser to come do that. In order to do that, you have to ensure that the purchaser is an investor that will realize a return on their money for coming in to help the builder to build.
Okay, great.
So that's why we bring in people like Lindy at the beginning, so the builder could get their financing to build. And then when they sell at the end, that's usually their profit.
So Lindy, anything can change, anything can happen. You purchased this condominium how long ago?
I purchased it in November 2015. So
2015, so that's about a year
Yeah,
a year ago.
that's right.
And when's it going to be ready?
it's done in the fall of 2018.
2018, so what's that, 3 years?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
3 years, and so anything can change, anything can happen, but what is your plan in 2018? Are you going to sell it? Are you going to move into it for yourself? Are you going to rent it out? What are you thinking
I
right
think
now?
I'm going to rent it out for 5 years
Yeah.
and then resell after 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
we'll see how it
So you
goes.
have a strategy there. That's cool.
Yes.
And was there any reason why you bought what we call the pre-construction as an investment as opposed to a resale?
Yes, because I got a really good deal on it. I only put down 5%.
Wow.
And I'll only have to put down the last 15% at closing.
That's
So,
wonderful.
yeah,
So
it
let's
was-
say that again. So you and what was the purchase price? I mean, we're going to do some numbers here, but what was the purchase price at the time?
$430,000.
So $430,000, and so this is not located in Kapuskasing for that price. It's where, in Toronto?
That's correct.
Okay, so you bought this property for $430,000, and what you're saying is rather than having to put $80,000+ into this, you only had to put down $20,000 and change.
That's correct.
Wow! And then on closing, 3 years later, is when you come up with the rest.
Yeah.
So was that, Brian, was that with just this particular builder, or is this the way it doesn't normally work like this? Usually you need 20% down. It's the first 30 days and then 90 days and then a year and
exactly. So you can see how this is special. You take advantage. It's a real winner type investment.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you, Lindy. When you listen, next time you find another one of these opportunities, let me know.
Contact Brian.
Yeah. Oh, Brian helped you with this?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. See, I always say he's not just a handsome face, he's a servant as well. Okay, so let's go through, you said you love numbers, Lindy, so let's go through some numbers here for a second. So you put 20% down on this, so 20% of that is what?
Sorry.
Not 20, right? 5% down, I'm sorry. So
$20,000.
$20,000 and change?
Yeah,
a little bit of change? Okay, so we'll just call it $20K. And that's how much you put down out of pocket.
Yeah.
And already, this is a year ago. So I know that it's already gone up in price. What do you, with the help of Brian and other experts, what do you value this at right now?
There's comparables. There's properties selling for $470,000 to $490,000.
Okay. So I'm just going to call this inflation because you've made some money on it. It's already gone up without you having to do nothing. So what would you say, Brian? What would you put this number at?
What, right now, or what we expect it to be when she's complete?
No, right now. Let's have fun and see what she's made already.
We worked on the comparables together, and these are old condos, so we have a brand new one that's not built.
Yeah.
So the older condos are going for between $470,000 and $490,000 right now.
Older.
Yeah.
So
it's like buying
this is brand new.
A used car for a higher price than a new car.
So what's your conservative number?
For right now, let's just say for easy math, let's say
because it's new. Because it's new.
Let's say $480,000 just for easy math.
$480,000. So the new number is $480,000. So already,
$50K.
my friend Lindy has made $50,000 on this.
Yes.
$50,000 you've already made.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get back if you were explain, Lindy, what an assignment. Do you know an assignment? What's a somebody help me with the terminology? What is that? What is an assignment?
Assignment is when you resell the property before closing.
Yes.
Right.
So you're selling the paperwork.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So here's your contract right here with the developer. You could sell Rav because I think in the next 2 years it's going to go up even more. So I have no problem buying it from you for $480,000 if you're willing. So you could sell it to me for $480,000 and you've already then cleared your $50,000.
Yes, I could.
Yes. No, I know you wouldn't, but you could. And Brian, do I have to take the 20 away? No. She obviously gets that back too. But
yes, because the person buying it has to pay. However, here's the thing. Builders don't really like this.
Yes.
So they may say, Lindy can't do that until she puts down all her deposits and she gets the keys. So it really depends on the builder's ability.
So you need to know. So what Brian is saying is we need to know ahead of time if the developer will let us sell the contract.
And usually they do not.
They do not.
Yes. Another problem with her selling it before, it might be classed as business income versus capital gains.
Okay, so it's a higher tax bracket.
Yes. And another thing is that price $430,000 includes the HST rebates, so she would have to pay that and all that stuff. It gets really dicey.
Okay.
We don't really recommend it.
So Brian is not recommending you to sell me that contract, okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. Because I know you would.
No.
You wouldn't. Okay. Okay, so who cares about this line then? But it's nice to know in a year you made $50,000.
Yeah.
The average Canadian salary is just approaching $15,000. So you did nothing, Lindy. How do you feel about that?
I feel
You
great.
did absolutely nothing and you made the average Canadian salary more than.
Yes.
In 1 year. Okay, great.
And the reason why it's simple is because the builder had to sell it cheaper at the beginning so they could get all the sales so they could start building.
Because
So
the bank doesn't give you the money until we have a certain threshold.
So it's not like we're saying, oh, this magically happens all the time.
Yeah.
If the builder had to sell it cheaper than what the going rate is in order for them to be able to build.
Okay.
So it's only special cases that are like this.
Okay, so this is 1 year. So you're holding it for 3 years. So tell me what's going to happen in 3 years.
She's actually going to hold it for 5.
No, sorry. What I mean is, from the time you put your $20,000 down, you have to occupy it 3 years later, correct?
Yes.
Yeah? Because you bought it in what year?
2015.
2015, and it's ready in 2018.
2018,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in 3 years, what does this look like? I guess that's what I'm getting at.
I'm thinking
Over the 3 year entire period, so 2 more years left.
530.
So 530s will be total. Okay, so in 3 years when you're done, 530, which equals $100,000, is what you made. just on inflation, by the way, we're just talking inflation, you made $100,000. So we divide $100,000 by 3 years, you made $33,000, but you only put in $20,000.
Correct.
Correct? So what we do, folks at home, is we take out our calculator. I could ask Lindy, and she could tell us, but I'm not going to do that. We'll go through the format here with the calculator so we all can learn.
Lindy's very prepared right now.
That's right. So Lindy made $100,000, but we're going to call it $33,000 because it was over 3 years. So we want to look at the annualized. So we'll go with a profit. You always take your profit, $33,000, and you divide it by what you're in for, which is the $20,000. And this spits you out. You move the decimal places 2 points. And Brian, is this right? This says 165%.
Yeah.
Does that sound right to you? So her ROI just on inflation is 165% annualized. That's ridiculous. Good for you.
Thank you.
So now, after 3 years, though, she could refinance. There's many different things that she could do. I mean, obviously, she's going to be in for more after 3 years because we have to close on this property at the original price, obviously not at the new price. So let's just call this now the new closing will be $80K. No, is that right? Yeah, 85.
So, sorry, you went $100K divided it by 20. Is that what you did to get? What did you do to get this ROI? Sorry,
No, she made because she bought the property at $430, and in 3 years it's worth $530.
Yeah,
she made $100,000. Divide by the 3 years.
Yes.
So she made $33,000 a year, but she's only in for 20.
Okay.
So you take the $33,000 divided by 20.
Got it.
And that's what we made. Don't pretend.
Yes.
You know all this. You're just trying to hear me speak a little bit more.
I love you.
Yeah. Okay. So you made that, and now we're not even talking about. Now you've got this product. You can rent it out. Somebody pays down the mortgage. All that kind of good stuff. Did you want to talk about that, or
Sure. Yes, we can talk about it.
We did. Okay. So tell me what we're going to do.
Okay. So I wrote down that. Assuming that there's cash flow for, okay, let's talk about my mortgage first.
Okay.
Okay, closing costs will be $9,000 for land transfer tax.
Okay.
$2,000 for lawyer's fees.
That's 11.
$11,000 plus $86,000 that I'll put down for a total of 20%.
Yeah, so what's that all together?
$97,000.
Okay, so you are now at the new price of $530, new price. You're going to put down, but it was on the old price, but you're putting down $97K.
That's correct.
Correct? That's going to be out of pocket. Now, we really know you're going to borrow this credit line, refinance, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But let's just pretend it's $97,000.
So assuming that assuming that I sell it after 5 years,
yeah.
My mortgage balance remaining will be $282,000.
282. Well, what's it worth in 5 years?
Well, she's going to say it's going to not go up in value.
Yeah.
She's going to say at 530.
Just 530. Just to
That's crazy
assume
conservative.
that it's not going to be appreciated.
Crazy conservative. Did you vote Trump? That's
No.
Crazy conservative Republican. So you're saying after 3 years it's worth $530. And 2 years later you're going to sell it, but you're not giving yourself any money there.
She's going to keep it for 5 years after that, after she gets the keys.
Yeah.
So it takes 3 years to build.
Yeah.
Then 5 years after, total 8 years of holding.
Yeah. Okay. So what's it worth? I mean, what's the mortgage amount?
The mortgage amount will be remaining $282,000. So principal paid will be $51,000.
Yeah.
Interest paid will be $40,000.
Okay, so we don't care about the interest. That's in the garbage. So $51K you made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cash flow will be $300
a month.
Per month.
a month.
Yeah.
On the low end, and then we're gonna subtract the cost of investment, which is $97,000.
What's your total ROI on this?
Okay, total ROI is 173%.
Per year?
No, over the course of 5 years.
Yeah, but you already made 165 in the first 3.
Yes.
Lindy, you're amazing. Can't wait till
Thank you.
you come back on the show again. And if somebody wants to learn more, seriously, if you want to learn more about this, can they get a hold of you through Brian?
Yes.
If they want to learn about the
Of
numbers
course.
a lot more?
Yes.
We're talking to Lindy. She's blowing my mind, making lots of money, investing in real estate. When we come back, we've got Enzo on the show. Don't go anywhere. Did you know that the new mortgage rules, the average Torontonian will have to earn 25% more income to qualify for the same property? Hey, it's Rob. Welcome back to the Everyday Investor. We're talking about how to make money investing in condos. Brian Prasad, my guest host, here with me, teaching us all that kind of stuff. Lindy came on the show here. We didn't even have time to go through all the money she's making. And now we have my friend Enzo here. My not Indian or Scottish or Irish, but the Italian friend.
That works,
yes.
yeah.
And we've had different workshops and different real estate, investing seminars, all that kind of stuff. But I'm excited for you to bring one property here to talk to us about a condo that you purchased this year.
Yep.
Lindy bought one last year. It was pre-construction. This was already ready to rock and roll, or
ready to rock and roll. The builder calls them inventory units.
Okay, so it was a brand new one, but it was all ready to take possession. And you said he calls it inventory.
Inventory units.
Inventory units. Okay.
So I didn't get a chance to pick finishes, choose what kind of countertops I wanted, do any of that stuff. It was the builder had already created it. It's already been done. This is what you get. If you want it, you buy it. If not, there's another model, perhaps on another floor.
Yeah.
If you don't like brown floors, you want light floors. Those are the
now,
things.
you bought this for investment purposes. Were you ever thinking maybe you're going to move in there, or probably not?
It crossed my mind, actually, once you start kind of seeing it and things like that. But this one is on strictly investment.
Yeah, and so if it's strictly investment, Brian, we don't really care what the finishes are per se. I mean, they got to be nice enough for us to want to perhaps live in it ourselves. But you're probably not going to live in there, so do the finishes really matter that much?
Really, if you go overboard on finishes, you really don't get it back as an ROI. People are just not willing to pay that extra price for it.
Yeah.
However, it only makes sense is if the builder was offering it to you so substandard, which never happens in the GTA, that you have to upgrade it to get it to the selling standard of everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sense?
No, it makes sense. I mean, we have to bring it up to par. We can't have the most basic if we're in a land of luxurious.
Yeah.
But
you can't have laminate countertops when everything brand new is Caesar stone or granite or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caesar stone.
Caesar stone.
What's Caesar stone?
It's a type of stone countertop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at you.
You got to do it.
Yes.
Fancy.
Yes. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Caesar
of course,
stone?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
I don't
Italian.
know. Of course
I have no idea what Caesar
My
stone
uncle
is.
probably makes it in the garage.
Nice. That's great. Okay, so you bought this property, and then you obviously didn't have to do anything to it. It's brand new.
Brand new.
And then, boom, you put a tenant in there.
Right away.
Right away.
Yeah, as soon as I got the keys, I made a call, and tenants were in there from day one.
Okay, so let's look at this. And what location? Where is this located?
This one's actually in Park Lawn and Lakeshore, so
Okay.
it's just outside the
Etobicoke-ish?
coast. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you bought that this year. So I want
Yeah.
people to know that in 2016, what month?
July.
So in July, just a couple months ago,
Yeah.
you bought a condo unit 2016, and that was in Etobicoke for how much?
289,000.
What?
Yeah.
What is 200 square feet or what?
540 square feet.
Wow. So Brian, that's
Do you see how sometimes that happens? A builder with inventory
He just wanted to
units,
move on.
He just wanted to move on. Sale price it. Just get rid of it. Inventory units. We have to go. Final days. We're closing.
wow.
So he jumped
this
on it.
year, folks. This year, Enzo bought a property, a condo over 700 square feet.
No, 540 square
So
feet.
540 square feet. But me and Brian just talked about there's $700 dollars a square foot pretty much right now. So if it was 500 and change, you're paying 350 to 400 for that.
With a parking spot.
His has a parking spot.
His has a parking
Because
spot.
and the reason why is the builders, the last few units, they just want to get rid of.
Yeah, and the builder bought the land so cheap a long time ago, so he could afford to sell at that
So
price.
Lindy got in on the very front, and she's
Yeah.
going to make, or she did make, and will continue to make
Yeah.
money. Enzo got in at the very end,
Yeah.
and he is making money because the developer wanted to get rid of them.
He was strategic, definitely. So there's two strategies: buy in the very beginning, or buy when it's a sale.
Wow, smart guys.
Yes.
Okay, what was the price again? What?
289.
289. That's ridiculous. So $289,000, and how much? You have 20%?
20%.
So what's that?
It works out to just about $60,000, $57,000.
$60,000 is what you're in for.
Yeah.
Correct? We're
Yeah.
good. That's it.
Well, closing costs, land transfer, it worked out to $65,000 if you want to just kind of just dumb it down.
We'll just put it in there for
Yeah.
fun. So 65 to close. So you are in for $65,000. That's what you're in for.
Right.
Okay. So on this, there's no renovations. There's no forced appreciation. So you're making money, three ways on this. So it goes up, like Lindy's went up. Yours is going up naturally. We got a little bit of cash flow in here, and then someone's paying down your mortgage for you. Correct?
Correct.
So you just bought it, but let's I mean, are you looking at this as an annualized, or are you just doing it to date, or what did you do here?
So
teach me here.
I've actually annualized it already. So,
okay.
If you want, there's actually two factors. So do you want to talk about the tenant first, or do you want to
No, I want to talk about the appreciation.
The appreciation. So right now, we're in November. We're in November right now. Last I saw, there was 2 models, the exact same as mine, the exact same unit. One was 6 floors higher than mine, and they just sold it for $335. $335. So
is that the number we want to use? $335.
Yeah.
So $335. So you made $40,000 just on the increase.
Just on the increase.
Just on the increase.
From July to now.
But you're only in for $65,000.
Right.
You can't do that. So you made $40K, and oh my goodness. So just on the inflation, in a few months, you take your profit of $40,000. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. He's only in for $65,000. So he's already made over 61% just on this. 61.5% he's made just on the inflation.
Again, this is not natural. He bought it at a sale price.
Yeah.
The builder could have sold it for more.
Yeah.
You know, if he waited a couple months, he could have sold it for more. But he bought it at a sale price because this market, yeah, it goes up, but it doesn't go up like this.
But this shows the everyday investor.
Everyday investor.
As smart and as handsome as he is, anybody could do this if they're strategic.
Yes.
We talked to people like Brian, Enzo. Yes. If we're strategic, there's more out there. It wasn't the only one that just other people could still do this if they. I didn't even know what inventory units were.
Yeah.
But basically, what they mean is the developer's ready to move on. So here, have it.
Yes.
You seem like
exactly.
a nice guy. Okay. So that's what you did there. Now there's some cash flow. So cash flow, once all your expenses are out there, your maintenance fees, your mortgage, your taxes, and then you get your rent. What's the difference there?
$100 a month.
$100 a month.
A month.
Beautiful. And I love that because people are watching. They're saying, you know, we could be tempted to say he's not making any cash flow. Who cares? He made $40K on the increase. And that's kind of the Toronto market. We're not going to make big cash flow in condos in Toronto, but you're going to make, as this turns into Manhattan, on the increase.
Absolutely. It's so important because he could hold that condo if the market goes up or down. He could hold it. He's making $100 a month.
Yeah.
And if rents continue going up 10% like they are, he's going to be making more next year.
Yeah. Okay. So you made $1,200. You'll make $1,200 as over the year. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then someone's paying you down your mortgage. So you had $60,000 there. Your mortgage is $230,000. Today's mortgage at $230,000 is whatever it is. But there's interest there. So how much that goes in the garbage? How much are you getting on principal?
I worked out on principal that in a year I pay $7,000. About $7,000.
$7,000. So 600-ish almost a month. So you're making $7K on your mortgage pay down. Correct?
Yep.
So basically, you're making $48,000 in a sense in a year.
9.
49?
Yes.
No.
12,000 plus 7.
1,200.
1,200. Excuse me.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry.
That's okay. So 48,000, right? So we bring this up here. In 1 year, you make $48,000. You divide it by what you're in for. 65K equals an ROI of. I mean, we just did. It's gonna be a little bit more than the. So what did I just say? What's your profit? 48.
48.
$48,000 divided by what you're in for, $65,000, and that gives you a 73.8. So you have 74% in your first year.
Year one.
It only gets better.
Hopefully.
Because you're paying down more goes towards your principal as opposed to interest and so on and so forth. So I mean, he puts out $1. And he's making 74 cents on the dollar. Mm-hmm. RSPs, you make what? 2-3%?
If you're lucky, some people after 10 years have their balance or even less.
So you refi, you're going to refinance, obviously, do it again, so on and so forth. Or I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I think in that area it's fantastic. That area is still growing. There's still potential projects happening in those areas. It's still just outside of the city. I find that a lot of people, they want to maybe not necessarily be all the time downtown in the core.
Yeah.
They still want to have somewhat of like park settings, a suburban type of feel to it.
But you have a streetcar.
But I have a streetcar.
A GO train might be going in.
Absolutely.
A great shopping. He could walk to the grocery stores. How many places in the suburbs can you say that?
Right. So just before we go to break, Enzo, this was strategic. So what did you do? Did you visit different builder sites? Did you
call
them? I mean, there's a little bit of work.
A little bit. So in this situation, I knew someone that was kind of living in that area. They talked about that area a lot. So I started looking around, and I saw this one project up, and it was one of those things with those signs on the same saying, move in now, move in ready. This one has to be...
So that's good. So that's the kind of sign you look for. Move in now, move in ready, to left, whatever.
Exactly. And those are the ones that, because they want to kind of move in now, there's, maybe there's 20 units left or 30 units left. That sounds like a lot, but if there's a building that has 550 units, 20 units, that's not that many left. So that's kind of the reason why I decided to just jump on that.
And Brian, a lot of the big players, the developers, they have partners, right?
Yes.
They have different partners that they work with, is what I invest in, right? So they have different partners out there. They're not just building this. They're building 3, 4, 5, condos at once maybe. And so there is incentive for them just to offload the last few units and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
if this was the only one they were doing, they'd wait and they'd get premium price. But they're like, hey, we've made our money. Let's move on and let's focus on the other 2 or 3 that we have going.
And if we take a step back, Enzo did a lot of homework. Even though he made it look a lot easy, he knows the area. He's in the business, so he sees comparables. So instantly he knows that $289 for this place is a good value. So he's able to make a decision quickly because of that. Because he's done some build-up and homework to build up to that.
Yeah. So what's your rent? What do you command for rent on this?
Right now I'm getting $1,600.
$1,600
Plus, and they pay utilities. I don't have to worry about anything. That's it. Yeah.
$1,600.
So $1,600.
And so, Brian, what are your thoughts? And we're going to do a show in a few weeks on this. If he furnished this, let's say it was fully furnished, would he get much more than $1,600? Or
it's hard because a lot of buildings don't want you to do short term, which a lot of people are attracted to having condos that are furnished. They want it short term. They don't want to be there for months and months and months and months.
So could the condo board say no short-term rentals?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very common.
So this affects the whole Airbnb world and all that.
So you have to know which buildings allow it, because you know what the number 2 complaint in the entire city for the city of Toronto when people are making
short-term rentals.
Short-term rentals. Number 1 is noise. Number 2 is short-term rentals.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's probably why in places like Florida and so on and so forth, I mean, they just right across the board almost. Don't allow it. So a lot of people have to buy houses.
If you're banking on it being short term and you're banking on that cash flow, it could be a problem for you if the building doesn't allow it, because you could be shut down like that, and then you're going to be on a huge negative cash flow, and then you're forced to sell it.
I mean, if it was long term, 1-year terms, and he furnished it, maybe you get another $100 or so. So it might not be worth it to spend the 10 grand. And so great to have you on the show, man. Thank you
very much.
Very inspiring. The stuff that you're doing.
Thank you.
You're watching The Everyday Investor. When we come back, we looked at Enzo, Lindy. When we come back, we'll hear from Brian, just his closing thoughts on this whole world of investing in condominiums. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions pertaining to this show, or there's a topic that you would like covered, please visit www.rogerstv.com. Hey, it's Rav. You've been watching The Everyday Investor. We've been talking to my good friend Brian. He's brought some friends. Enzo, Lindy. We're learning how to make money investing in condominiums. Brian, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate that. If there's any kind of thought, sentiment that you would love to share with the viewers at home, around investing in condos or just investing in general, what would you say to them?
Well, believe it or not, Lindy and Enzo are everyday investors, but there are a lot of people that don't make these kinds of returns. You may hear about them talking about on Facebook how real estate is really bad. The reason or the difference that sets apart Enzo and Lindy is that they've done their homework, they did their due diligence, and they acted quickly. I mean, how do you act quickly on something? It's because you're confident, you're comfortable with the numbers by watching these shows. And if you are seeing something that you want some advice, you can give me a call and I'll vet out the numbers, be able to say, okay, the builder was really selling it for this price and I think you should get it for this price. Just call me and I'll be able to help you out. We also help you out with finding the tenants, doing the inspections and everything else. So if you have any questions, I'm happy I'm here.
Well,
we wrote the book on it.
Yes,
it's on Amazon.
I'm surprised we didn't even talk about that. You didn't bring it.
I know, it's 5 years ago.
It's the only book out there investing in condos.
Only book on investing in pre-construction condos. You can find it on Amazon, so you can take a look at it. And as always, if you have any questions, give me a call.
Well, listen, thank you so much for being here, for enlightening the viewers, for bringing Enzo and Lindy. It's really been a great show, and look forward to seeing you again. Bring Sabrina next time.
Absolutely, we'll do it. Thank you, sir.
Brian Prasad, folks. On behalf of Rogers TV and myself, Rav Toor, we'll see you next week, same place, same time. Honey, I love you. I'll be home soon. Ciao, everyone.